On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1955 to have a listen to a 13-year-old Barbra Streisand, and she's going to be performing You'll Never Know. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, a cool one for tonight. I mean, we've looked at Barbra in the past on the channel, but never from this early on in her career, just 13 years of age. So, I am going to be jumping into this, by the way, so if you want to listen to it the whole way through without me interrupting it, there's a link in the description below to this original video. But let's have a listen and see how Barbra gets on.
You'll never know just how much I miss you. You'll never know just how much I care. And if I tried, I still couldn't hide my love for you. You ought to know, for haven't I told you so a million or more times? You went away and my heart went with you. I speak your name in my every prayer. If there is some other way to prove that I love you, I swear I don't know how. You'll never know if you don't know now.
I'm just going to jump in here because, I mean, this is great. When we've looked at Barbra's voice before, I've said about this natural vibrato that she's got, and you can see, straight off the bat that as a 13-year-old, she's already got this in her voice. It's not something that, she's had to work at later on in her career. And when I say later on in her career, I mean, in her teenage years and her late teens, getting into her 20s, trying to kind of nail down a vibrato or find her own vibrato because it's already in there. And the thing about Barbra's vocal here that sets her apart from so many young singers is the appreciation of pitch, but the ability to hit pitches this accurately. And the reason that this is really important is because nowadays, and I said this in the video that I made on Judy Garland's voice, that nowadays you're not going to hear this because these notes that we can see from Barbra, here we're slightly flat of the A3, but this is really accurate pitch-wise for a vocal. Whether you're 13 or not, for a singer to be this close to these lines, and you can see that the G-sharp 3 here, as she goes down the semitone, she's absolutely bang on with that. So throughout this performance, she is so close to where she needs to be, for it to sound pitch perfect. So getting back to the pitch accuracy of a 13-year-old here, I know that lots of people will say, oh, but there are singers like this because I've seen this 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, whatever, on YouTube. And I know because people link me to these videos all the time. Unfortunately, pitch correction is rife, and it's an industry standard nowadays, which means that if the kids aren't doing it, I'm sure, well, they might even have the knowledge to do it themselves now because it's so easy to apply, but it's most likely their parents who know about pitch correction, who are using it on their daughter or their son's performances before uploading them to YouTube. So then when you analyze them, they are stuck to these lines. And we've had videos like that in the past, and this is the problem, that when people are sending me lots of links to young singers, it's just going to be one video after the next talking about how it's not actually their voice, it's been pitch corrected and it's been stuck to these lines through software, and it wasn't how accurate the voice was to begin with. So when I say that there's never going to be a voice like this now, there might be a great singer who, yeah, is really accurate pitch-wise, might be young, might be 13, but we won't hear their original voice. And this is, by the way, this is without any pitch correction. That's the thing to point out. And ironically, with a pitch corrected vocal, the pitch corrected voice would be more accurate than Barbra's. So that's, when I say more accurate, I mean it'll be stuck to these lines. It wouldn't have the same expression. It would have less expression because it's been programmed in order to hit these lines no matter what. So yeah, as we go through it here, seeing how close she is gives you an appreciation of the natural ability. This is natural ability for pitch. And when we have a look through it, of course, because this is a natural voice, we're not going to be on the lines all the time, because we know from our hundreds, if not thousands, of analysis videos on the best voices of all time, of which Barbra's is one, great singers aren't on these lines all the time because they have expression in their voice, and sometimes they naturally sing sharp or flat depending on the feeling that they're having at that particular point and the lyrical content of the song. It can change with the meaning of the words. So yeah, that's why great singers aren't always on these lines. And look at this, the way that we ascend there. You know, look, if you were to look at this and think about pitch correction, you say, well, where do we plot that note? Because it's covering over a semitone, and it's never really on a note there for any length of time. But then when we have a listen,
I miss.
It's that slide up. I miss. So now, musically, it makes sense. Even though when you're looking at it, according to a 440 standard pitch, it looks like, oh, that was not very accurate. But that was the expression in there. And there, you know, she's slightly sharp, but holding this note, and then has this vibrato at the end, which again, you know, is great to have this, especially for a 13-year-old. And what I will say is about not only young singers, but young guitarists, and even old guitarists, they sometimes don't have a grasp of vibrato, and that is, you know, the fingerprint of so many great singers and guitar players, that they've got their own vibrato, and the speed of it, the pitch that it covers, you can just tell that, oh, that is this guitarist or that is this singer because of the way that their vibrato is. It's just, you know, almost encapsulating their personality, because when you talk about singing, you always think about having some kind of you know, vibrato on there to make the note sing. That's what vibrato is doing. Back to this, you know, as we have a little look through, you can see that this kind of thing. And again here, even though it's below the line, I mean, that is just so good and so accurate. And this G4, you will see Barbra hitting these lines now and again, which is what great voices do. And, you know, here again, it's a natural voice, so it is going to drift a little bit flat, a little bit sharp. But, like I said, this is totally natural. This isn't edited. So everything that we're seeing that's just absolutely, you know, bang on here gives you an appreciation of Barbra's ability to, you know, control her vocal cords, but also her ear to be able to hear pitch and tune herself relevant to what she's hearing. And again, this is why you will see notes that are flat and sharp, is because she's tuning to what she can hear. And sometimes singers aren't singing along with something that is true A440 standard pitch. But let's listen on.
You went away and my heart went.
I mean, that is so good because the way that she's ascending here.
You went away.
So she's just picking these notes off, blending them together, and look at where this A4 is. Absolutely bang on. And again, her intervals are so close. But this is a good example of it as well. The D4 here, pretty much bang on, a little bit sharp. And then as she came down, she was now a little bit further sharp than she was previously. But when you're listening to it, this just sounds absolutely spot on.
You went away and my heart went.
And even that, the heart, that being slightly sharp, heart went. There's a different emotion to that, being slightly sharp of the A3.
Went with you. I speak your name in my every.
And I mean, have a listen to this really subtle vocal technique in here.
In my.
And I'm just going to have a listen to that in slow motion.
In my.
And it's almost like she's going. She's got a little run in there. Obviously, this is really high for me, like a B4. Obviously, low it in the range. It's easier to. You can now wobble it. Higher up's more difficult. But it is like a controlled wobble or two while descending. So yeah, really subtle vocal technique, but it's the kind of thing that you hear. It doesn't necessarily register as what it is, but it's just great vocal technique. That's what it is.
I speak your name in my every prayer. If there is some other way to prove that I love you, I swear.
I'm just going to jump in here again because enunciation. Listen to the way that Barbra sings prove that I love you. Yet the L of love, it is such a conscious decision to make that pop out more, to give it a little bit more emphasis. Have a listen again.
Prove that I love you.
Prove that and she actually starts the L of love really early. Prove that I love you before then allowing the word to come in. So again, only 13 years of age, but she's already thinking about things other than just singing. She's thinking about enunciation and cadence, the way that she's phrasing the words and the way that she's singing them. So it's not just a vocal performance of a 13-year-old hitting notes. She's actually putting meaning and a performance into this composition and her vocal. There's personality in there.
I swear I don't know how.
And look at this, just a split second here, F sharp 4, absolutely bang on. You can't get more accurate than that.
You'll never know.
And spot on here. And again, I just want to point out that this kind of thing, when I say about pitch corrected singers and young vocalists, nowadays this happens all the time when you're looking at it on pitch monitoring software, but it's not where their voice fell naturally, because this is as accurate as you're going to get for a 13-year-old. This is the top, so pretty much everything else is going to be below that, below what we're looking at here. So this kind of accuracy, just being on the line now and again, this is still really accurate here, but pitch corrected vocals, of course, are going to be on these lines all the time, which isn't physically possible. Like I said, there might be another Barbra Streisand out there, but we're not hearing their voice because, it's kind of what, a 1 in a billion chance that there is one out there, but we won't hear their natural voice anyway because it will be pitch corrected, meaning it will be more accurate than this. Therefore, it can't be another Barbra because it's going to be a computerized version of what Barbra's voice would have been, which is a massive shame. I think it's a huge shame with the modern day industry that it is an industry standard. So, I mean, when people say to me, oh, has this been pitch corrected? Has that been pitch corrected? I have to say to them, it's an industry standard, which means more likely than not, what you're listening to is, because it's standard. It's rare to hear something that isn't pitch corrected. So anyway, I mean, this is why this is good. Obviously 1955, well before the days of pitch correction, but still a voice that is as accurate as you're ever going to get.
If you don't know now.
I mean, that is great as well, because this first note, we had it held. And listen to the way that we had that. So, obviously, this is really high for me, it's like a C5. But she's hit the first note straight, flips up to the C5, comes down to the A sharp 4, and applies vibrato. So, her vibrato and her choice to add that is totally conscious. It's not something that's working its way in automatically. She's got control of it. And sometimes singers do vibrato all the time because it's just within their voice, but Barbra's showing here that it really is, at this age, you know, something that she can control, and she can add it in if she wants it, and yeah, she can take it away, sing straight if she wants to as well. But thank you guys for requesting this particular vocal performance for me to take a look at tonight. As always, keep the suggestions and requests coming in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!